everyone, Sandy here. Welcome back for day 2 of my 13 Frights before Halloween. We're going to put pattern papers on our album cover, our folio cover that we made yesterday. And I picked these papers out, and you may want to pick out something different, but I love these cats. And also I did go ahead and finish up these 2 little pop-up albums that I showed you how to make on day 1 at the end of the video. So this one here, I changed it up a little bit so I could tie the ribbon. I fussy cut out this black cat and added a couple of little sayings from my stash. And so you open it up, and inside I did pattern it with the Country Craft Creations Midnight Ride. So when you open this up, I went ahead and put pattern paper on the back squares where you could put photos, and also on the pop-up section, cut triangles. Now, yesterday I think I told you to cut squares that were 2 7/8, but actually you want to cut them 2 3/4, and then for the triangles, cut them at an angle. So this is what this one looks like. I have some sayings that I added in here from a stash, a witch sticker, some little ghost stickers here with some sayings. And then in this section, I added in some caution washi tape and a jack-o'-lantern sticker from my stash and some more sayings. And this one I have different washi tape and the little jack-o'-lantern sticker and a bat sticker. So you just decorate it up the way you want to. And then, of course, when you pull the ribbon around, you can tie it. And it will stay open like this. And you can put it on a table or your mantle. I didn't do the bottom because I didn't think it needed to be covered. So that's the first one that I had done. And then I showed you this next one in the tutorial yesterday. So this one is done with the Country Craft Creations Bewitching Hour. And I made this little pocket here out of one of the tags. And then I've got a little tombstone and a little ticket that I've from my stash that I just stick in that little pocket. I just thought that decorated it up kind of cute. And then you untie the ribbon. And I did this one the same way. I patterned it on the inside, except as I said, I used the Bewitching Hour. So when you tie it, it opens like that. And the decorations I used on this one were things that I cut out of the pattern paper, like some of the sayings. I split them in half so they would fit. I like these stars on here, the purple, and the different scenes that you can cut out of the paper to add in here. So I cut out some of the banners from the tags. One says Halloween and one says October 31st. And then I also cut a circle out of the tags and left it where you could put a photo up underneath it. Here's the other one that says October 31st. So again, you just tie this up and it makes a cute little photo display for Halloween. Now you need to go ahead and pick out the papers you want to use for your album cover. And I've already selected mine, and I will be giving you the names of these later as I cut them. But for the cover, I did go ahead and pick out the cats. Now it is the border on the back side, but I have extras because I bought extras. So I have 2 of those. I'm not so sure about this purple one. I'm not sure if I'll be using this one, but I did pull it out. I definitely will use the 2 black and white check for the cover, and then I think I'll be using probably just one of the stripe for now. And then of course I love spider webs, so I pulled out 2 of those. I'll definitely be using those probably on the inside somewhere. Now this is the signature page on the back, but I have plenty of those. I bought extra. And then I pulled one more out so I can fussy cut or use the square or something as a decoration, which I'm not going to put on for now, but I did want to pull that out. So I'll go ahead and pull out your papers that you want to use, and then I'll be back to show you. I'm going to cut mine off camera, and then I'll be back to show you what I cut out. So I have all of mine cut here on the for the front cover and the back cover. I have the cats, so you do need 2 of these that are 8 7/8 wide by 10 5/8 tall, and this is cut from the Abracadabra pattern paper design. And then for the spine pieces, I wanted the black and white check. So this is from Pumpkin Patch. And I cut two that are 7/8 inch wide by 10 5/8 tall, and then one that is 2 3/8 wide by 10 5/8 tall. So that's for the outside of the album cover. And then from the spider webs, I cut for the inside sections that have the magnets. Let me grab that and show you what I'm talking about. So right here, these two sections here is where I'm going to put the spider web, and the spine on the inside, the wide spine, is going to be covered with spider webs. So I cut two, and the spider webs are from the Midnight Tales because that's the signature page. So I cut two that are 8 3/8 wide by 10 5/8 tall for the sections over the magnets, and then for the spine center I cut one that is 2 3/8 wide by 10 5/8 tall. For today we have one more section we want to cut paper for, and that's the 9-inch. So when you open up on the inside, you'll have your first section is a 8 1/2, and then you have the 9-inch. And I'm going to use this stripe here, and I cut that to 8 7/8 wide by 10 5/8 tall because it goes in a 9-inch section. This is where I'll be putting my waterfall, and I do put this paper down, and I labeled it waterfall, you see in pencil here, so that I don't get it mixed up. So we're not going to pattern the 8 1/2 to the left and any of the other sections to the right. We're just going to put patterned paper today on this 9-inch section where the waterfall goes, because that's what we'll probably be working on tomorrow is our waterfall. So I'm going to go ahead now and ink my papers, and I'm using the Distress ink by Tim Holtz in the pumice gray because I like that. It's not a real dark black, but it just gray enough to cover up the white core of the paper. So I'm going to ink all the edges, and I'm going to go ahead and speed up the video while I do that. So once we have them all inked, now we're ready to glue these down onto the album cover. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to work on the outside first. So I'm making sure I have the top up here at the top. You don't want it upside down. And I'm going to open it up so it's flat. And I'm going to go ahead and glue the cat pattern paper here on the front. This would be the front piece. I'm just dry fitting it to make sure that I cut it out right. Don't want to make any mistakes, so I'm just looking at it and measuring, make sure I gave you the right measurements, which I said was 10 5/8. No, that's the 10 5/8 tall by 8 7/8 wide on the outside. So yeah, that's correct. So I cut it out right. So that one goes there. So you see when it's opened up flat that magnet section is to your right. So this is your front cover here because the magnet one will fold under. So I'm going to take my glue and go ahead and put glue down on all the edges. And then some in the center. And then go ahead and put this down and make sure you get it as straight as you can and line it up so you just have a small margin around the top, sides, and bottom. And then once I get it on there, I like to smooth it with my hand, spread out that glue, and then take a spatula and burnish it so that everything lays down nice and flat, that there's not any warping with that glue. You want to make sure you get it spread out. So that's the front side. And I'm going to do the same thing for the back. So you will go ahead and pattern the front section, the wide spine here with the black dots. I'm going to show you that. And then you would also pattern the back side. And then don't forget to pattern your 2 1-inch sections with the black check. I called it dot, but black check as well. We have all the outside cover patterns and we fold it up. You have this in the front, the big spine, the back, and then we have the 2 1-inch spines that meet together where the album opens up. So we open it up. We're not going to cover these magnet sheets yet. We're going to open this up and go ahead and put the pattern paper in on this 9-inch section. Make sure you're covering the 9-inch section and not the 8.5 on the left, and also not the 9-inch one on the right. You just want this one here. So I'm going to put this striped piece in, and again I cut that at 8 7/8 wide by 10 5/8 tall. And I'm just going to take my glue and I'm going to go ahead and put glue on the outer edges and then on the inside of the pattern paper on the back, and attach this down and burnish it really well. And this is where we're going to be assembling our waterfall section, which we will probably do tomorrow for day 3. So we're going to go ahead and get it covered and ready. So again, I'm just lining it up, make sure it's straight as I can get it. And I adjust it a little bit. You have a few seconds with the glue to adjust if you need to. So I thought it needed a little bit of adjustment. And then I'm going to burnish it with my hands and then take my spatula. Well, for some reason I think it maybe just off a little bit, so moving it just a tiny bit. Still got time to do that, so that's a little better there on that side. I felt like it was over the line too much. You want to make sure that you're not covering any of your fold lines, and then go ahead and burnish that. I'm just checking the fold of the sections of the album cover and then burnish that down. Okay, so that looks pretty good. For the 2 sections that have the magnets, I'm going to add ribbon belly bands, and this is some 1.5-inch wide ribbon. I have about 13 inches, 2 pieces, and it's very sheer, but it has the black and orange satin checks on the side, so I think this will work good with the album. So we'll move the cover out of the way, and you will take the 2 pieces of pattern paper that you cut specifically for the inside sections of their 9-inch wide areas for not the 9-inch, I'm sorry, the 2 sections that are the 8.5 sections that are for your has your magnets. So you want 2 pieces that are 8 3/8 wide by 10 5/8 tall. So that's what I have here, and we're going to add the ribbon to make the belly band. So I'm going to take score tape, and you attach a ribbon to each pattern paper piece. So you do this before you actually put this in the album to make a ribbon belly band. And I'm going to fold over on the back side about 1 inch of the ribbon on one side. I'm going to tape that down, and I'm just eyeballing where I think the center is, kind of use my fingers to measure, and if it kind of matches, then I'm happy. So I'm going to take my tape, a couple of pieces of score tape, and tape it on the end of the ribbon. So you secure it with your score tape, and then you stretch the ribbon across, fold over on the other side. Now, you're going to pull it slightly tight. You don't want it flat. It's going to actually make your paper kind of bow inwards when you pull it to the right tension, so that when you flatten it down, the paper down onto your cover, then it will be really tight for the ribbon. So if you do it exactly flat onto the paper, it's not going to work quite right. Ahead and put it into the section of the album cover, which will be covering up the magnets that we've already put on. So grab your book and open it up. And actually, I'm going to flip it over so that it's laying flat. So here's the front side. And I'm going to put this paper with the ribbon onto one of the sections here. And then I will put the other one on the same way. So I'm going to put glue. I'm going to pull the tape backing off, the score tape backing, and then I'm going to put glue on my back of my paper and attach it down to both sections. On this one, I realized I needed just a little bit more glue right there under the ribbon, so you may experience that also. So make sure it's stuck down good and burnish the edges really well. So now I have the pattern paper with the ribbon belly band attached down onto the areas of the cover that had the magnets. So I'm going to go ahead and now flip this back open. And we need to go ahead and put pattern paper on the inside of the big spine area, which I also want that to be the spider web. So we'd already cut that. So go ahead and glue that down inside your book. You can go ahead and put that one down. We'll be making a slider element on this later, but we don't have to have the pattern paper off. So we can actually go ahead and put our paper down and then add the slider later. So go ahead and stick that down and pay attention to the direction of your spider web if you're using it, because the little spiders are purple and you can see if they're hanging down on their string, if you've got them going the right direction. So you want them hanging down. So burnish that. And we have all the sections patterned that we're going to do for today. And so tomorrow we will start on that waterfall, but for now let's go ahead and make our photo mats. For the large photo mats that go behind each belly band, we're going to put 2 behind each one. And you need to add on 4 more sheets of cardstock because it takes a full sheet for each mat. And I forgot to add those on. So I changed the number from 29 for now to 33 to 35 sheets of black artisan cardstock. Now these are all cut to 8 1/4 by 8 1/4. And I do like to punch the corners with something that you might have. I'm going to use the deco punch that I have on this crocodile. And I'm just going to punch all 4 corners of the 4 that I have cut. Now I am not putting pattern paper on all of them. If you want to and you have enough paper, you can. You can actually punch more than one of these at a time. Two together, as long as you keep them straight. They will punch because these crocodiles will punch through chipboard. This one I didn't get quite right. Let's see if I can line it up. There we go. And one more. So I only put pattern paper on the front side of the first one on each for each side of the album. Okay, and then on the pattern paper, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to use the stub punch on the corners of the pattern paper because I like the way that makes it look offset some. So we'll do this on both of these. You cut two of these 8 1/8 by 8 1/8 to, and I'll put that in the cutting guide, cutting this for you. Now, if you want to pattern the second one, you certainly can do that. And I might change my mind later and do that. I did use paper from the Patterns and Solids by Graphic 45. So let me set this aside right quick. And so you take, since this is a square, it doesn't matter. And you see how that offsets the different design there. So you take glue and you attach one down just to one of the photo mats. So we're going to flip this over and attach it right here. And burnish that down. It's all smoothed out. And then the other one. Okay. So I stack plain one behind the one with the pattern. One of each. I know I have 4. There we go. One together. And then we take the book and we just put them in behind this ribbon. And it's a tight little fit, but it does slide in and out like that. And this keeps this all nice and flat so that your book still goes together without a lot of thickness. So then this closes up. And there it is for today. So that's what we're going to do on this folio album today. And I'm trying to think if I want to do a really quick little Halloween project. So I'll check and look. Okay, so I did decide to go ahead and do a little bonus project for day 2. And I'm using some of the scraps left over from doing my patterned paper covering of my large folio album. Set this aside. I don't need that. You do need, if you're going to do this little project with me, your envelope punch board. You can use your scissors, but I'm going to use an angle punch. And then I'm going to use a corner rounder. So I'm going to probably use a 1/4 inch or the half. I haven't decided yet. And then I need scraps of paper. So I took some of the scraps of the cardstock first. Put this aside. That goes with that. Oh, and you're also going to need your hole punch. I use this crocodile like that, the hole punch. Okay, so you need a piece of your cardstock, and mine is 3 3/4 by 6. And I'm going to round the bottoms, so I'm going to go with the 1/2 inch corner round, and you can do whichever you want. And then I'll do the angle at the top. 2 corners at the top are angled. Now, I've had some people say, well, that's not really a tag, but to me it is a tag, and I like it. I like it better than pointy ones. So it's a personal preference. If you want a more of a tag shape, then you would cut a deeper cut with your scissors and match it up. Then I took a scrap of the orange, the back side of this, but I want the orange solid pattern. And this one's 3 5/8 by 5 7/8. So the bottom, pay attention to the direction, round the 2 bottom corners, angle punch the top 2 corners. And I'm just going to go ahead and layer this onto my tag piece, my cardstock piece. So it's just going to have a narrow border around it, like that. So put the glue on the back side. This is going to be just a quick, fun tag. Put this here. The next layer is going to be the spider webs. So this measures 3.5 by 5 3/4, and that's going to fit right there. So I'm going to round the bottom 2. I'm going to call this a layered card, and we're going to angle the top. And because I'm trying to make sure I get this done without it being too long, I'm not really inking the edges much. So we glue that one down. Okay, a layered tag. Okay, burnish that one. I seem to have misplaced my big scraper, so I'll use my small one here on a tag. Then I punched out, not punched out, but cut out this check. And it is, these are all from scraps, 3 inches, because I wanted more of the spider web to show, 3 inches by 5 1/4 around the bottom. Angle the top. And that glues right down over that, kind of centered. Now I'm not making this to go in the tag album, but you could put it in your pockets that we're going to make for the back cover if you wanted to, or you can just use it as a bookmark or for a gift card, because we're going to put a pocket on the back. So burnish that. And the next one is going to be the cats. And this piece is 2.5 by 4 3/4. So around the bottom, angle the top. And I'll probably will put some sticker on here from the collection. So have to look at those. First I'm going to do the back, get the pocket made. Or you could put a gift card if you wanted to. So then we put this here and center it. I love those cats. That is so cute, so Halloweeny. So turn it over, and I cut a piece of paper out of the black check to cover the whole back. It is 3 5/8 by 5 3/4 is what I cut. Okay, so I'm going to round the 2 bottom corners, same thing, angle the other 2 at the top, and that's going to go right there. I think I'm going to have a lot of scraps from this paper collection to make different things with. So let's put this here and burnish that. Now for the pocket piece, this was already this size, and it is 3 inches wide by 2 3/4 tall. We're going to round just the bottom 2 corners, just for looks. And then I'm going to take my envelope punch board. Since this is 3 inches, I'm going to put this edge at 1.5 inches. That puts it in the center and punch. And that gives us that notch. And I'm making the pocket just out of the pattern paper. I'm not worrying about putting it on cardstock or anything. If you wanted to do that, you could. Then I'm going to put glue just along the 2 sides. Not real thick, but just as thin as you can, and across the curve and the bottom. And then I'm going to kind of put it up a ways from the bottom, center it side to side, and burnish those edges. So this is for the back side. You could put a piece of white paper if you wanted to write on it, but anyway, something will slide down in there. Now we need to do our punch. I think I want some circles. So it's a good size tag. I'm going to get the 3/4 inch punch. And let's punch it out of the orange back. See what I've got here for a scrap. So I'm going to punch 2 of these, 2 circles. I'm going to use the orange solid side. Then I glue this in the center. Just on the front side for right now. Right there. Kind of center it. And then I take my hole punch. I'm going to use the large one. And I'm going to center it in that circle. And punch. Now that goes all the way through. Okay. Then I turn it around. And I'm going to glue this one over that hole. I was doing that so I can use it as a guide. Right here. Like that. It may not be perfectly centered, but then I'm going to repunch. Okay, repunch. Sorry, had to tap that out. That same circle again. So we'll go through that other circle in there. So that's pretty good, close to the center. It won't matter once my ribbon's on anyway. Okay. And then we're going to take some black seam binding ribbon that I've already crinkled up. And I'm going to thread it through. I'm going to tie a knot in the end of both. And this is about 12 inches. And I've tied a knot in the other end. I'm going to tie a knot in this end too. Go. Trim it off some. Then fold it in half. Take the loopy part that's in the center. Poke it through with the hole. Grab it on the back side if you can. Okay. Pull that loop through. See, you've got your loop here. Take your 2 tails, stick them in the loop, and pull. And there you have ribbon on your tag. And let me look at the stickers. I haven't used any yet. See what we want to put on there. Oh, I like that witch. I like this witch. Then I like Boo and Spooky. This one has Trick or Treat. So I'm going to pull this off. Trick or Treat. I like that. I'm going to take this orange scrap again. I'm going to attach that down. And then I'm going to take my small scissors and I'm going to fussy cut around this tag. The sticker, I mean. About 1/16 of an inch from the edge so that there's a little bit of orange around it. Since the background of it is black, I thought black would be too dark. But I wanted a little bit of something contrasting so it would stand out more. So you just carefully move the paper with the scissors. Doesn't have to be 100% perfect. I mean, I do it as close as I can, keeping it all even. Let me go the last little bit in that curve. Okay, so that's going to go right there. I don't want it at the top. I think right there. And you could use, make it dimensional if you wanted to. I'm just going to do it flat. And that gives us the little spider, the cat in the center. And that's a little Halloween tag, real simple you made. If you wanted to add some other doodads, I'm going to show you, I was sitting here playing while I was on the phone. This was a long skinny strip of paper and I just rolled it different directions from both ends. And it kind of made this little, I don't know if you can see it, these little squirrely flourishes. Yeah, that's what they're called. And so you could glue that on if you wanted to. Something like that. I would glue it in the, I would ink the edges, but I don't think I'm going to put that on there for right now. I may save that for a different project. Anyway, so I thought I'd share that. So there's the tag with the ribbon in it, the layered tag with a little pocket on the back where you can insert a gift card if you wanted to. And that's our little bonus Halloween project for today. So thanks so much for following along with me on day 2 of my 13 Frights before Halloween. Again, check back tomorrow around 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time for day 3. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.